Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm a social studies educator, historian, and host of this, the Everything is a Primary Source podcast. I'm also an avid collector of popular culture artifacts. I love what I find at thrift store outlets, garage sale leftovers, and what I spot just making my way around the built world. I enjoy sorting through boxes of free books and magazines, not to mention online collections like Internet Archive, and of course the Library of Congress. But you don't need to spend your time digging through bins or following online rabbit holes to get a look into the past. The movies and TV we watch, the books we read, and the games we play are all documents of the past. So is fashion, food, music, toys, even the roads we travel on and the places we live and work in. Everything is a primary source. This podcast is the result of exhibiting these kinds of artifacts in public, getting passersby to select an item they connect with, and then chatting with me to see what it says about the time, place, and people who made it. The conversation you are about to hear, therefore, is your history, my history, our history, through popular culture. So I'm here with Elijah, and we're at Free Comic Book Day, and they're wrapping things up. You can hear the band in the background getting started, things going. So transitioning away from the day itself to now getting into the festivities. But have you had a good day at Free Comic Book Day?
Oh yeah, I've been coming off and on. I stopped last year, but like the past 4 years before, I've like been coming pretty regularly.
And it's such a fun place where everybody, even if they're not like really into comics and stuff, just you have to be on a day like this. Everybody is so showing their fandoms and everything going on here.
Oh yeah,
so.
it's geek culture at its finest.
And it's such a nice setting for it too. And I like how Rochester downtown comes alive with this event. It's gonna be a shame to see it go away. So are you a longtime fan of Spider-Man? Do you think that
I'm a longtime fan of comics, and the way that I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a Spider-Man fan, but I do like the themes that Spider-Man touches on. I feel like the theme of this is like a very nerdy individual. This is like someone who's very dorky, very awkward, and he's juggling like all these different things at the same time. I feel like it really it touches on something that I kind of understand and relate to, because I have a lot of hobbies and a social life too, and I feel like the main point of Spider-Man is he's us.
Yeah. He's unlike, so when you think about the other characters that, between the two major publishing houses for comics, Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
Batman is a super wealthy guy.
Yeah.
He can buy all the toys he wants.
It's hard to relate to him.
Superman's an alien. X-Men they were born with these powers. Yeah. Spider-Man is an ordinary guy. He didn't intend to get these things, but then he has to insert that into his life somehow, right?
Yeah. Like, he, and oftentimes he'll get really hurt. He'll get like screwed up. Like Batman has his money that he can fall back on. Superman's pretty much invincible, but like you'll see Spider-Man like get torn up by his villains and like being this like huge amounts of damage. And and he just has to keep going and just like keep living. Like,
if I'm not mistaken, he's 60s, right? Is when Spider-Man shows up as mid-60s.
Oh, I have no idea.
So. I think it's that early, because I feel like, and he has gone through changes over the years. There's different versions, and we've been seeing that in the theater lately with the Inside the Spider-Verse movies and things like that.
Do the webs come out of his forearms? Do they come out of like a machine that he makes the goo for? Yeah. So at one point it was Doc Ock and like in his brain.
And it's like, but he still hasn't varied that much. It's still ultimately the same. I feel like even within this Inside the Spider-Verse, all those versions they share in that they're just kind of ordinary people. They're not meant to be coming from. So he's like, and I've always seen him that way too. Is like he's like the ultimate like populist comic character. He's like from us, and he represents us in it. And why do you think that was? is that aspect kept the character popular consistently all these years?
And I feel that Spider-Man and his rogues gallery are better than anyone else, than any other superhero and their villains, because when it comes to Spider-Man, he's got citywide villains. He's not like the X-Men or Doctor Strange or Superman. He's not fighting gods and these giant aliens that are gonna kill everyone. He's fighting people that are like robbing banks and stealing shit. Like he's more on our level, and that also makes him more fun as a character.
Yeah.
Is that he's fighting people with like guns, and like he's just like criminals that are like stealing a car.
Right.
Like he stops like citywide crime.
Right. And he's
that's cool.
Even though he's above all of us when he climbs and when he swings around on his web.
Yeah.
He's street level. Like
if he runs out of webs, he takes the train.
Right. He kind of, and it's. I know it was the poster that was actually given to me by one of the creators inside. He stopped by earlier and just like, hey, you could use this, of the 2002 Spider-Man movie that started this conversation in the first place. That one I think kind of missed it a little bit. I was so excited when that movie came out because I was desperate for a Spider-Man in the movies. He's like destined to be in the movies for so long.
Right.
And when it came out, I was just so excited, and that's what carried me through it. And I liked it a lot originally. But the more I watched it, I'm like, man, I spent a long time on where he comes from. I feel like those of us in the theater watching Spider-Man know where he comes from. I thought the best way to start that movie should have been, and it kind of works out that we kind of have like this punk rock music in the back, because I thought that would have been just like the perfect, like, movie starts out with a bank being robbed or a jewelry store heist, and then out of nowhere, here comes Spider-Man, and he kicks a guy down the street, and he makes his funny remarks, and
I do like it that like there's a lot of shots in that movie where he's just alone or on his own trying to like fumble his way through things. Like when he's in the gymnasium, like he's completely on his own. When he's hunting down the guy who's like the carjacker who got his uncle, he's like on his own, and it really just like feels like he's just taking on so much, and he doesn't really have like a system to lean back on. And that's Spider-Man. It's just like he's holding all these threads together by like nothing.
I wonder. That's a good way of it. Threads.
Yeah.
I wonder how many kids over the years have tried to be bit by spiders.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm hoping to get like him because it's like you said, he's the everyman, and I think we've all had that experience of going things alone, right?
Yeah.
And having that
it's a human condition.
Yeah, having that internal struggle and not having anybody to turn to and relate to. Now, eventually he does interact, and I'm not a huge expert on the character, but does he ever join any of the? Is he an Avenger or
not,
kind of like
not
adjacent
in that Spider-Man? That Spider-Man is like this own universe where he's the only one in New York.
Yeah.
But in the Tobey Maguire one, he's the only one. The Andrew Garfield, he's not the only guy. The Tom Holland one, he joins the Avengers.
Okay.
He is an official Avenger.
Because I feel like. Yeah, because I was thinking also, because the X-Men movie came out before the Spider-Man one did. Yeah. And I'm like, that also takes place in and around New York. You'd think that they would find each other, but those are two different planes of existence.
Would have been awesome.
And yeah, because both of those versions were like kind of on the same wavelength in that time period, right? Early 2000s.
It's like weird and like scarily dark. Like you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna bring my 7-year-old to like go see this like superhero movie, and it's just like you'll like just like watch like people like explode and die, and it's just, those movies are super dark
comparatively to what they came out with over the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these other iterations of it.
Oh.
And
like the Hulk movie. Have you seen like the original Hulk movie?
I saw that in the theater. Yeah.
That movie is super. I watched that when I was 11, and I was like terrified.
And once again, the music kind of matches our conversation. We talk.
Oh yeah,
it's scary. Blah, 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 blah.
Like watching his dad like melt and stuff.
It's kind of.
And now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of like historic now. That's like 20 years old, those movies. And they were kind of hashing out, what are we going to do with these characters? Now that we have the special effects capabilities to make a man look like he's actually Spider-Man.
Right.
Or to make a guy turn into the Hulk convincingly.
Yeah.
And not just use a bodybuilder like Lou Ferrigno to play him and color him green. What are we going to do? Now that we have that ability, what are we going to do with these stories? And I don't know, they seem to have, like, you just rattled off like several people have played Spider-Man in just 20 years. That's kind of like they haven't actually found their way yet. I guess the Tom Holland one is the one that took more than the other ones, right?
Yeah.
But he always stays ordinary.
Yep.
He's still just a regular guy. He's not super buff. He's not, he's just kind of like a nerdy guy that, and I think that's why his job at the Daily Planet kind of makes sense. Not Planet, Daily Bugle, because he's a photographer. He's not the cool reporter guy Clark Kent is over at the DC world. But thank you, Eli, this has been a great day for me. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I'm
absolutely.
To end my conversations with such a good one.
Before I go, what is your favorite Spider-Man villain?
I always liked Venom because he's Venom and Carnage, like those kind of
classic.
Like I love how they're like kind of born from Spider-Man in a way.
Yeah,
and
it's why he has like the giant spider on his chest.
Yeah, and I love it's almost like the connective tissue that they share with him, both actually and that to make a villain, you make a guy look more or less like your hero is kind of a cool dynamic instead of something completely different, like Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom. Like they don't have anything in common with each other. Who's your favorite?
Oh, the Wall. The Wall. He's this giant brick wall, and his line is Here's one wall you'll never crawl. And that's it. That's it. He's the Wall.
What a fun world to write comics for,
Oh,
you could just, it's a Spider-Man. Thank you, Eli.
Thank you.
Popular culture, by definition, connects and unites us, and proves that people of different backgrounds, in fact, have a lot in common with one another. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, at least in part, for that reason. If it connects with you and you'd like to add to it, or any of the podcast episodes, just visit everything-history.com and search for the Everything is a Primary Source project, which can be found in the classroom section of the website. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Be sure to rate and share this podcast wherever you are listening to it now, and follow Everything as a Primary Source on social media, including YouTube and especially Instagram. Thank you for listening to the EPS podcast, where everything is a primary source.